Welcome back to Sports Life, the only source die-hard fans trust. This is not, I repeat, not your regular sports show, ladies and gentlemen. We take every argument, scenario, statistic, and quote to the next level. And now it is time for me to introduce my esteemed colleagues, Mr. Luke Poor, all-star Dallas Mavericks fan. Luke showing the Porzingis jersey. Very nice. And he's also a big TCU Horned fan for all things college. And then back over here, we got my homebro, Lucas Miller. Here we got San Antonio Spurs fan, as you can see from the hat and the jersey, very dedicated. And then he's also a big Los Angeles Rams fan for the NFL. And also he is a Texas Longhorns fan like me. And also a Gonzaga Bulldog fan. Mark Few and his boys getting out there in Spokane. So our first segment here, it's a fan favorite, Rapid Fire. So Rapid Fire, me and Lucas here, we will have 1 minute to answer Luke's questions. They are going to be various what if questions about the NBA, and some of them, may be controversial. I think the last question is going to give us a little more time to work on because it is very controversial. Luke, take it away.
For the first two, I'm going to give you all a minute to talk, but in the last one, I'm going to give you all a minute 30 and maybe be a little bit more generous because this one could get intense. So, who's going first?
Jeremy, I think I'll go first here.
Okay, Lucas. What if Derrick Rose never got injured? Classic. Are you ready? Set.
Luke,
go.
I think I am. All right. First off, if Derrick Rose never got injured, the Chicago Bulls in 2012, in the 2012 playoffs, they would have won that series in the first round. They would have won in the semis, and they would have at least gone to the Eastern Conference Finals. And who knows, they may have gone to dethrone the Heat, and who knows, maybe they could have had a championship. Second, I don't think that Derrick Rose would have ever been traded from the Bulls if he got injured due to, look, the next season, even if they didn't win a championship in 2012, Derrick Rose was an MVP candidate that year. Remember, he was up against he was up against the other superstars of the league. But Derrick Rose, he would have been another MVP candidate for the next year, a superstar, and that would show the front office, show the management that he has value and he would not get traded.
Thank
you.
That's
what I think would happen. Yeah.
Good statement. Jeremy, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. So Derrick Rose, okay, he was the league MVP in 2011. He was confirmed by almost all of the 120 votes in the NBA's committee on MVP voting. I mean, the guy was averaging almost 22 points a game before this happened. And in the 2010 season, he averaged 25 points a game. The Bulls in 2011, I believe, if I'm right, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals versus the loaded Miami Heat. In 2012, LeBron was still with Miami. The Celtics had started to die off, and Paul George's Pacers were in the mix with everybody else in the Eastern Conference way back. The Bulls would not have won a title if Derrick Rose had been injured, but they definitely would have gone to the finals and made it a 6 or even a 7-game series. So that's my take on the Derrick Rose injury saga.
Yeah, and who knows what could have they made it to the finals. Who knows what they could have done to the Thunder, and who knows what that would have sparked with that team. So many things would have happened. That was a great question.
Do y'all know how he got injured? It was like the last minute, and they were up like 20 plus. Bad coaching decision.
Towards ACL. Horrific sports injury.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm glad to see him being successful today.
For our next question, Jeremy, are you going first?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So, what would have happened if Kobe Bryant, the legend, was not traded to the Lakers on draft night from the Bobcats, I assume, at the time?
Yes. So I'm gonna go with like a scenario here. Like some of the stuff is probably like some of the stuff isn't real. It's just like if obviously he had stayed with the Hornets. So in Kobe's first 2 years with the Hornets, I think that they probably would have definitely improved. His numbers would have gone up. I think that playoffs in his second year with Charlotte would have happened. They probably wouldn't have been able to get past Michael Jordan's Bulls in the conference finals. But when MJ retired in 1998, they really started to hit the ground running. You draft a really good big man, and you got the entire front office, new coach, new GM, etc. Now, you got MJ out of the picture. Kobe and big man out of Old Miss, John Bender. Okay, yeah, I know he played for the Pacers and the Knicks, but still, this is, again, a scenario situation. They take the Hornets to the top of the mountain in 2000, winning the title against Scottie Pippen's Blazers. Then they start gaining more talent in the late picks of the draft. They then win 2 more leagues. They then win 2 more rings before Kobe Bryant retires in 2012.
Solid, solid. I like that opinion.
Thank you.
Lucas, are you ready?
Luke, I believe I am.
Okay, go.
All right. Rest in peace to the legend. My point here, Kobe Bryant never got traded from the Bobcats or Hornets now to the Lakers. First of all, remember, he was 17 years old when he got drafted. Didn't go to college, straight out of high school. I believe that no matter what team he was drafted by, whether it be the worst team or the best team, he would have stayed on that team for his entire career. He's one of the most loyal, respectful, and he just wants to win. He has that winning mentality. He wants to win at all costs, and he just wants to bring championships, win championships for the organization. And I don't think he would have left the Charlotte Hornets ever unless the front office traded him. But that would just be absurd because I still think he would have showed that same talent that he had on the Lakers. Maybe not with the same players and teammates he had on the Lakers, but I still think he would have been one of the greatest players of all time, in my opinion.
Nice. Little backup question to that. Would he still have won all the rings he would have had and his championship, and his MVP? Would he still have that, or would it be different? More or less?
Well, I do think that it would have been different, obviously, because he would have been in the East. But it all depends on, the players that would be traded from that team. And, he had Shaq then. Would they get another star player to help him? But, I definitely think that when in the East that, there were still a lot of big teams. So, yeah.
Nice. Jeremy, do you have any opinions on that, or?
Yeah, I agree with Lucas about, obviously it's going to be different because, you're in a different conference. Do I think that he would have won the same amount of titles and rings had he been in the East? I'm actually going to take that a step further. I think he would have won more.
Wow.
Because here's the thing. You look at the East back then. The East back then was not as loaded as the West, so it would lead like an easier path for Bryant to get to the conference finals, to get to the finals, to hit those clutch shots, to put up the numbers that he needs to put to take his team to the top.
Okay, nice. For a final question, I'm going to give y'all some more time on this one. Who's going first for this one?
Jeremy, you went first last time. Would you like to keep doing that, or you want me to take it away?
Oh, you can, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Lucas, would have James Harden, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and Serge Ibaka become a dynasty if Harden had never left the Oklahoma City Thunder?
If Harden had never left, or if KD and Harden had never
Harden specifically, when he was traded in like 2013, 2014.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
All right. Yep. All right. I'm gonna make a bold statement here. Listen, at the time when the Oklahoma City Thunder had James Harden, Kevin Durant, Serge Ibaka, I believe Russell Westbrook was he a rookie at that time?
Westbrook was drafted the year after Durant, and then Harden came.
Okay. Well, yeah. So Russell Westbrook was there when James Harden was there, correct?
He was big three, yeah.
So basically, the big four with Serge Ibaka too.
True.
Listen, the Warriors up until this year have been dominant. Ever since, it started in 2015, but especially in 2016, they got hot. And you know who they got? You know how they got hot. And then in the playoffs, you know what sparked their dynasty ultimately. Even when they lost in the finals, do you know who they beat?
Thunder.
They beat the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Here's my bold statement. If James Harden would have never been traded, and Kevin Durant would have never left if James Harden had never been traded, because the Oklahoma City Thunder would have beaten the Golden State Warriors. They would have. I don't know if they would have beaten the Cavs. I think they certainly could have. But they would definitely win a championship, if not that year, then the next year. And they would become the dynasty that the Golden State Warriors became. They would have done that. And I think, well, James Harden he's been growing as a player on the Rockets, and Kevin Durant grew a lot as a player on the Warriors and now the Nets. I still think that they would have reached a huge potential and became very good teammates.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Lucas.
All right, so Sports Life Nation, my apologies. I forgot to explain my jersey. I explained Luke's and Lucas's, but I did not explain mine. So, my jersey pick, I'm not really this type of a team's fan, but, I got a jersey. So, you know what? I guess I am. Why not? Boston Red Sox, folks. Why not? I know that they were one of the teams that got embroiled in the cheating scandal and all that. But you want to know, I think that, better days are ahead for Red Sox Nation. I do think that they will bounce back from this. I do. I really do. And, folks, back to Luke Bohr now for the last question of Rapid Fire.
Okay, Lucas, those are some very interesting takes. Jeremy, are you ready for your time? You have 2 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Go.
So, yeah, without a doubt, honestly. They first matched up against LeBron. They lost in 5 games. But KD and the boys were young. Now, with more experience and not a lot of good teams in the East, the West, who has the Mavs, San Antonio, and the Pacers all knocking at the door of the conference finals. But that OKC team beat 2 of those teams, and with Dirk aging and LeBron leaving for Cleveland again, I think that they really, truly could have been a dynasty and brought home some titles for Sam Presti and the state of Oklahoma.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Jeremy, I have a question for you.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you still think that KD, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook still would have averaged? I mean, not average, but like still would have become the same type of players that they are today? I mean, not like that, because they, obviously are on different teams, but like, do you think they would have like increased their skills and become like still the top players of the league that they are today?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I got to say yes to that. Because I mean, yes, like they would have probably like some problems about who gets the ball the most, but the coach works it out with them. So I don't really think that would be a problem. add that with competition with teams who you already beat most of the time. You got a lot of veteran leaders on that Oklahoma City team back in 2012, and so they can provide the young guys with the experience that they need. So yeah, I think that they really would have grown into being the same players that we've all seen today.
I have one more just little question going on to that for that. Do you think James Harden would have blossomed to the player he is today that averages like 40 a game and just puts up insane numbers? Just yes or no?
James Harden, had he stayed with the Thunder? No, because James Harden in Houston, I'm probably gonna get a lot of heat of this, but you know what? It's the truth. James Harden in Houston is a one-man show. Okay, it's all him. All the man does is chuck up threes. And you know what? I got to give him credit because it works, okay? It worked for Houston back in 2016 real well. Quite frankly, if they would have managed themselves right, they should have beaten the Warriors and gone on to the finals and probably beaten the Cavs. But so I do I don't think that James Harden would have been the same player and putting up the same numbers had he stayed with the Thunder.
Luke, I agree and disagree with Jeremy right here. I agree that I don't think he would have been the same player, but I disagree in which I still think he would have averaged some pretty crazy numbers. Just especially because he goes to the line and shoots about 30 free throws every night.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my take on that. Sorry, Houston Rockets fans, it's the truth.
Yeah. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
We're gonna bring it back to Jeremy for our sports life argument.
Yes, sir. All right. So, Sports Life Nation, for our viewers that are new to the show and for our viewers that are not new to the show, but, kind of forgot about the segment, of course, that's totally okay. So this segment, Sports Life Arguments, is a new take on SLS, little thing called Sports Life Signings. And so in Sports Life Signings, Luke and Lucas here picked 3 teams at the mercy and fate of the wheel. That is the Spin the Wheel app that has the NBA, NFL, and college football teams. So they have their teams that the wheel picked for them in those leagues, and I'm going to ask them questions about their teams for those leagues. So, Lucas, which one of y'all guys wants to go first here for the inaugural Sports Life Arguments segment?
I'll go first.
Oh, okay.
Wait, do you want to go first? I don't mind.
I was gonna go first, just to set the tone. But if you want to go first, that's fine.
I'll set it down.
Okay.
All right.
Now I want to. Okay. You can go first.
All right.
No,
All right.
I insist, actually.
Really?
No.
So okay.
Okay. Just decide. Okay. So, Luke, you're going?
Yes.
Okay. So, Luke, I got a question about your Miami Heat for you.
Let's go.
All right. So, do you think it would be a good or a bad move for the Heat to sign Pistons power forward / center Blake Griffin? And would a veteran presence like Blake Griffin add stability to a somewhat young Heat roster? Your time starts now.
I'm going to say for the Heat, that's a bad move. And the reason why, Blake Griffin, he's getting up there in age. I know 28, pretty young for an NBA player, but he's really slowed down after he's left the Clippers. In his first couple of years in the league, he was a monster. I'll give him that. But ever since, he really hasn't been the same. Especially on the Pistons, he hasn't really done anything big. I think he had like 150-point game. But, that's pretty much it. Lucas, are you going to say something?
All right.
I was just going to say
right,
he didn't
guys,
have the same kind of point guard. He didn't have the same kind of point guard in Detroit that he did have in LA.
That's true. Did he play with, I guess,
good point.
he did deal with a lot of injuries last season and even this season. And that happens to NBA players. They get injuries,
Yeah.
and I mean they're just washed.
I mean, Chris Paul is definitely a step up to whoever the Pistons have now, point
I
guard.
think it was Reggie Jackson at the time.
Yeah,
in
no.
his First
Chris
year, and then
Paul's
I think
definitely better
Derrick
than-
Rose filled the spot.
Chris Paul's definitely better than Reggie Jackson. Oh, D Rose took a spot. You know what? Good. You know what? Good for D Rose. Good for D Rose.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go. That's a bad move on that one.
All right. Thank you, Luke, as always. Okay, so Luke, we're gonna move now to your college football team that we all know that you love very deeply in your heart, the Indiana Hoosiers. So let's get right down to it, and I promise you this time, my facts are correct on this one. So after a strong season for head coach Tom Allen, this offseason with the COVID-19 crisis and several changes to his staff and team, including 2 captains and left tackle Croy Crunk and quarterback Peyton Ramsey, and Indiana's third highest receiver Peyton Hendershot was suspended from the program after a domestic violence incident with his girlfriend. Also leaving the team from a coaching staff perspective, you got both your defensive and offensive coordinators in Brian Connor and Kalen DeBoer, and also your 2 strength and conditioning coordinators. So probably arguably your 2 most important coaches leave, and then the guys that provide the muscle. So that's obviously a lot of loss. So I guess I'll just get down right to it. Do you think that Indiana will rebound strongly from this, or will they take a step back from one of their best seasons in school history a year ago?
You know, I have some very high knowledge of this team, and I think that they will have to take a step back. You know, they lost a ton of players just from a bunch of different stuff, whether it's from transferring to the draft, which not many to the draft, I'd assume. And, I mean, they just lost a bunch of players. 2, they can't practice because of coronavirus right now. And, I mean, practice makes perfect. They can't do that right now. They can obviously train on their own, but not as a team, which kind of sucks. And, I mean, that's going to affect them in a big way. And as you said before, they lost 4 coaches, including their offensive and defensive coordinator, and then both of their strength and conditioning coaches. So out of that, yeah, I think they will have to take a step back.
All right. Very smart analysis there from Luke Poor on the current state of Indiana football. Hoosiers fans, if you're listening, this man, I think, is correct about what he's saying about the future of Indiana's program right now. Hate to break it,
I am.
but you're going to take a step back. All right, now to Lucas Miller. So, Lucas, your NBA team was the Dallas Mavericks that the State of the Wheel
Yes, it was.
selected for you. Luke Poor's favorite NBA team here. So, with the Mavericks cap space set to increase in 2020 and 2021, with contracts for some players set to expire, who do you think the Mavericks will pursue and why?
Well, first off, I definitely think they need to re-sign. They definitely need to re-sign Luka if they haven't already done that. In the offseason, along with Porzingis. I definitely think they'll let go of not point guards, but they might let go of some shooting guards or small forwards such as Tim Hardaway Jr. But I don't really think that's their main concern. They have perimeter shooting and Steph Curry and Luka Doncic and even Kristaps Porzingis. He's more of a an outside and mid-range shooter than an actual post player. So, which brings me to my point. I think the Dallas Mavericks should invest and go after the Blazers' Miles Leonard. I think this because they need more rebounders, and they need more of a dominant presence in the paint. And I'm not saying Kristaps Porzingis isn't that, but I'm just saying I'm saying he's not as big as a player as he is as a big perimeter player and like just dunks. So I think that they should sign Myers Leonard. I think that he would be a big addition to the team. I know the Blazers are for sure going to try to keep him locked up. He has a $41 million contract right now with the Blazers, and he's a good player to have, and he's a good team player as well, and that's why I think the Mavs should sign him, even though it may be hard to. So. Yeah, I don't know if he would get as big as a contract as he's getting with the Blazers, so that might be the only thing. But the Mavs should definitely look into it.
All right. Thank you, Lucas. Great analysis, as always, on the future state of the Dallas Mavericks, who many would call by now Texas's premier NBA team with the Spurs.
Okay, well, Jeremy,
I like
it.
Moving on.
like
Debate for next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a Spurs fan.
Moving on.
This hurts my heart, but
You're
I'm
a
doing it
fan
for
of
you. I'm doing it for the show, okay?
You're not.
Jeez. What's the next question, Jeremy?
Moving on. All right. So the next question is about your beloved Green Bay Packers.
Cheeseheads.
So the Packers have made some moves in the offseason for their defense, including the signing of Gerald Willis and Jamal Davis. With these signings, are the Packers turning to a new side of youth on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, I think with the hiring of their head coach last year, they're already turning to. He's young for head coach. He has a young mind like a young great mind like the great Sean McVay has in the league. After all the coaches went, all the executives and management in the NFL, they went looking for new on the rise head coaches from the Sean McVay coaching tree. And so when they hired him, I think that they wanted to change the culture from what had already been there. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that the Packers need to go to the younger side. To have a revamped young defense. But I do think that the young acquisitions of those players will definitely help in the long term. And if that, the Packers have some veteran players on defense as well, and I think that will help the younger players that they just brought in to transition to be those veteran players that will step up in the big moments, and which I think will lead them. I think they might make a playoff push this year, as always, and as long as there isn't a quarterback back and forth between Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, I think they'll be good. And I think Jordan Love needs to, in my opinion, I think he needs to not sit out, but like watch and study Aaron Rodgers' work ethic, and come in and play when the coaches tell him to. Because honestly, rookie quarterbacks need that.
That's
Exactly.
Smart. I like that.
Exactly. That's what the Chiefs did with Patrick Mahomes and Alex Smith, and look how well
Right.
that turned out. Well, obviously not.
And that's what the Packers did with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. So that's why I'm not understanding why the Packers wouldn't, and now they're all trying to go to these new levels formally. So if the Packers do go to that, I got a message for your front office. If y'all guys end up only having a 3-win season, it's on you. Okay? Follow the Chiefs process.
I think they'll win 3 wins either way.
It's my message for you. All right, Lucas, moving on to your
Yes.
college football team. The Colorado Buffaloes down there in Boulder. So, Mel Tucker left Colorado for Michigan State after 1 year in Boulder, ushering in a homecoming of sorts for new head coach Carl Durrell. Durrell has connections to Colorado, serving as their receivers coach from 1992 to 1993, and then returning in 1995 to be the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach under Rick Neuheisel. Despite his connections to Colorado football, his team obviously didn't really get to practice together and learn his system due to the coronavirus crisis. Add that with 6 players going to the draft. So I'm going to make this very similar to Luke's questions here. Do you think that Colorado football will improve from a 5-7 record last year, or will they fall back even more? Your thoughts?
Well, Jeremy, that's a good question. As you know, as you were saying, Colorado, they've been through some downs in the coaching change. But, this new coach that they brought in sounds like he has lots of experience, especially at Colorado. And just to put it simple, there needs to be a change there, and it starts with him. And if he can't do that, if he can't talk to his players, if he can't make that change, then they won't improve this year and for the coming years. So he needs to make a change.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Lucas. Great analysis as always. On the future of the Colorado Buffaloes football program down there in Boulder in the Pac-12. So now we have our last segment here with a special guest here called Take It to the Point Guard. We are bringing on one of the most sought-after minds in the NBA, the next WOJ. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Point Guard Nick Gallego. Point Guard Nick, you are now on the show.
We are glad to have you on the show today. First and foremost, how are you doing? How is your family doing? Are you doing good?
We're all doing great here.
It's good to hear. So before we actually get to this segment, today was actually the day that the NBA passed the new 22-team format for the end of the NBA regular season and going into the playoffs. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. How do you think it will go? Do you think this is the right thing that they should be doing, or do you think they should have just scrapped the season in the first place? And who do you think will get that 8th spot in the Western and Eastern Conference?
Also, finals prediction. I want to hear that.
Yes, sir.
I haven't done a lot of reading on the new format. I heard that it was happening. But for a finals prediction, I'm going to throw in – I'm going to have to say Bucks and probably – and there may be a little bias in that because I'm a huge Giannis fan. And probably I want to say either the Lakers or Clippers. And I'm sorry, Lucas, but the Spurs are not going to make the playoffs this year.
You know what? It's never over till it's over. There's always hope.
It's over.
But my question for you is in the West there are I believe the Blazers, the Kings, the Suns, and the San Antonio Spurs. Is there one more team I'm forgetting, Luke or Jeremy?
That's it.
I think that's it.
Those 4 teams will be playing for the 8th seed. In the West. Do you think any of those 4 teams on the outside looking in will take the place of the Grizzlies?
I think the Blazers have a really good chance of doing that.
The 6 teams are the Pelicans, the Kings, the Blazers, the Spurs, Suns, and Wizards.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I'm hyped for it, but you know what I'm also hyped for? I am hyped for the new segment today, which we have brought Point Guard Nick on for. It is a segment named after him. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, this segment. So everyone has that time in their life where they're like they're having this argument with their friend, and you're like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I need to take it to the point guard. And that is exactly what we are going to be doing today on our new segment, Take It to the Point Guard. We hope you enjoy. In this segment, we will each ask point guard Nick one NBA question that will not only test his knowledge, but we will also get an opinion from the legendary point guard. All right, Jeremy, Luke, which one of
What is
y'all would
the
like to go
order that we
first
have?
with your
I'll go
question?
first. Yeah, sure.
All right,
All
I
right.
will go last.
All right. So, point guard Nick, my question for you, pretty straightforward. So Otto Porter Jr., star out of Missouri, I believe, if I'm getting that correct. Went to the Nuggets, I believe, got drafted by the Denver Nuggets, high draft pick. A lot of people think that he should have been drafted that high. But he's always, regardless, had a lot of problems with his back. Kind of bounced back with the Nuggets, but kind of had some turmoil again. I guess what I'm really trying to say here is, will Otto Porter Jr. finally break through with the Chicago Bulls? Point guard Nick, your thoughts?
I think he will. I think he's definitely capable of it. He won't be like it won't be as big a difference from Luka Doncic last season to Luka Doncic this season, but I think he can definitely do better. He averaged 17 points last season, and this season it dropped down to 11. And I think once he can recover from his injury, he can slowly start to come back and improve his performance.
All right. All right. Thank you, point guard Nick. Expert analysis, as always, from the GOAT of the NBA analysis, the next WOJ. So, Mr. Luke Moore, do you have your question ready for point
I
guard Nick?
do. Okay, Nick. So when Luka Doncic retires, what will all of his accolades be? So, like, how many championships, MVPs, etc., stuff like that.
I've never been good at predicting the future. That's why I don't bet against you, Luke, because I think I'm 0 for 3 right now. But I think he's going to win at least one MVP. I know that for sure. He could win 3, maybe 4 championships. And I think I'd give him at least one finals MVP.
I like it. That's what I needed to hear. Lucas, you're up.
All right, my question that I've decided to take to the point guard is kind of a looking ahead question. So, with the teams that have already been eliminated and aren't getting a chance to play, the Warriors. Sorry, I just had to throw the Warriors in there, just for the long 5 or 6 seasons of treachery that the rest of the NBA has had to endure. Anyway, my question for you, point guard Nick, is which of the NBA teams that were kind of, at the bottom of their conference will make or will be the bounce back team of the 2020-2021 NBA season next year?
Next year, I think I was surprised that the Blazers didn't make the playoffs this year, and I think they're definitely capable of doing that next year. And I think Minnesota definitely had a drop in performance, and I expect Karl-Anthony Towns to make an improvement to that, assuming he stays on the team. And then the Detroit Pistons, I have faith that Derrick Rose will find his groove.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think think we'll definitely see something on the rise. Just a follow-up question to that: Do you think that those teams will add anybody in free agency, or trade for any big players, or just you just think they'll make a jump?
I just think they'll make a jump. I'm not sure of any players they can trade for, but I was super shocked that the Pistons let Andre Drummond go.
Yeah, I was too. I don't know what was going on with that decision.
Especially
Yeah. Before we have to say goodbye and let Point Guard Nick go, any of y'all in the comments submit a comment of a random NBA question that is like from the 60s or something, like literally anything, and Point Guard Nick will answer it. We promise he won't do any research, only from his head.
The
And
next
he will
W
answer you back
right here
in a next
Point Guard
episode.
Diego.
Yes, but thank you, Point Guard Nick, for joining the show. Stay safe,
Much
and
appreciated.
we'll see you next time.
All right, thanks, guys.
Nick.
Thank you, Point Guard Nick. Appreciate it.
See ya.
So, Sports Life Nation, this brings our second episode here to a close. We hope you enjoyed it. We sure enjoyed it. We got to bring on the legendary Point Guard Nick. Got some great NBA analysis. We hope to bring him on in the future. But, in the meantime, everybody, just stay safe, in the midst of this coronavirus crisis, riots, ton of bad stuff really going on in the world right now. But, we will get through it. Anywho,
We will get through it. Just wanted to let you know we will be putting some links in the description for some ways you can help, some petitions, places you can donate, and we just want you to help this cause of the fight against racism. With that, we hope you stay safe. We hope you have a great rest of your day, whether it be night or day or the middle of the afternoon.
And until the next episode, peace. And as always, we're going to go talk about what the Cowboys are doing. Adios.
Sure.